This video will be for anybody just starting out in Assetto Corsa. First, you're going to want to go ahead and open Content Manager. Now, underneath your settings, you're going to go to Content Manager. You're going to hit Drive. Now, you're going to see Skip Results. If you check every one of those when you're done with a race, you won't have that pop-up that tells you how you did, your times and whatnot. It'll just cancel that box right out, and then you don't have to click Close every time. You can also right-click your screen, hit Hide Arms. That way your arms aren't flailing around when you're in first person. It's kind of distracting. Next up, you're going to go to Assetto Corsa. You're going to want to hit Controls. And I recommend binding all your controls in the actual Assetto Corsa game. You should open Assetto Corsa at least once before you try to join any online race. It can cause some weird errors when you're trying to do an online server. Usually you have to run the game at least once just to load the game up, and then you can close it out. I do recommend binding your controls in there, though. It can cause less issues in the future for like your wheel not resetting back to center properly and some other weird bugs where your controls don't bind properly. The first and most important thing is to, for your pits button, you're going to want to either teleport to pits or set up in pits. Teleport to pits will just bring you back to pits and you can take off again. Set up in pits will bring you up to the pits menu, and then you can change your tune and tweak little modifications. You also have your chat there and all that good stuff. Alright, then we're going to head down to System, and then we're going to have Show App in Pits automatically. What that'll do is on some tracks you'll have a little pits box that stays up to change your presets. It's really annoying until you drive a certain amount of distance out of the pits. That box will stay up consistently and then auto disappear if you just don't want it up anyways. Just uncheck that little box there. Alright, so we have Assetto Pits Hold, full screen. So for the pits button, some people complain that you have to hold the pits button. It can be very annoying. To get rid of that, you're going to want to go to Assetto Corsa, Video, head on down to full screen. If you uncheck that, then you go to Controls. You'll see these down here. You can hit this delay race terminating commands by half a second. If you uncheck these, you won't have that issue anymore. Then you go back to video, click full screen, and now you shouldn't have to hold the pits button to go back to pits. Next, we're going to have custom shaders patch. For GUI, these are things that I recommend changing. Hiding the ping, hiding that camera message, hide CPU occupancy warning. I like to show my handbrake in the pedals app. That way when you are having your controls shown on the screen, you can see where your handbrake is. Some people don't realize their handbrake is binding at a certain point, especially the cheaper ones. They like to just have these little bugs where they flash the handbrake quickly and you can't figure out why you're braking sometimes, or it feels like you're going really slow. Your handbrake may be getting held just a little bit. This is a big one. Use throttle pedal to start a race. That way, in case you really hate when you go back to pits, with the pits menu open, and then you have to hit drive, and then that's the only way you can go. If you have this checked, you can just hit the gas pedal and you automatically start driving, and then you don't have anybody hitting you in the pits and jiggling your wheel and whatnot because you'll be still locked into that pits menu. Next we have particles and effects. This is for anybody that has a lot of smoke and you turned it down in your Assetto Corsa video settings and you just cannot get rid of the amount of smoke, or you get a lot of frame drops. There's right here, it's called New Smoke and Dust. You can dial in your smoke amount. It's for the new CSP. If you just uncheck active, that will cut your smoke significantly. It'll help people with slower PCs get a lot more FPS out of it. Next, we're going to try to set up a single player setting. So for this, you're going to see these little boxes down here for your single player settings. And if you're drifting, I like to have everything shut off. So what you can do is hit these three little dots. And you see traction control, ABS, all that good stuff. If you can just copy what I have here, it usually works best for most online servers for your single player session. That way it'll match closely to most servers. Tire wear may be on, maybe off, depends on the server or how they set it up. For online searches, you can go here. There'll be a little hourglass here, and then you could type in whatever you want. So like what I like to do is just add ACS, and that way, all our ACS servers, if you click them, You will see an install missing content link if you do not have the track for some reason, right here, maybe up here too. If you just hit that, it'll start to download. You can see it here. All you need to do is right click. Once it's ready, you can hit install all. And just like that, you already have the track downloaded. You don't have to worry about viruses and bugs and all that, or getting the wrong track, wrong cars, etc. To change your search settings, you'll see like a lot of times there'll be a red circle up here where it says missing. What I like to do is come down here, and if you search with all this off, so that way it'll get you every map available, every car pack available, whatever you search is going to pop up, even though you don't have the track or the cars or whatever if your friends aren't in there. I like to sort by drivers, and then if you click set sorting to default for new tabs, every time you open a new tab, it'll follow that same search pattern, and then set filters as defaults for new tabs as well. If you check each one of those, that way you don't have it pop up with missing content every time you have to go uncheck it. It could just be annoying. For a single player session, we're going to jump in quick, change some settings in there. Alright, so now that we're in a single player session, if you click this right here, you'll have the driver names listed here if you're in an online server. Obviously this is single player, so it's just going to be me, but normally it would show the car that everybody's driving and the tire type that they're on. This is really important to try to match the tire type everybody else is using in the server, otherwise you may be way too fast or way too slow. It can really mess up some drift tandems and whatnot. Just try to match the tires that everybody else is using on that server. Next up, you can hit the gas pedal, and you're going to want to go to Setup Exchange. You can open all your apps here. For the old CSP, it's going to be all the way at the bottom. It should look like a shopping cart. It'll say Setup Exchange right here. It'll be at the bottom now. Otherwise, if you're on the new CSP, what you're going to do is open up App Shelf, and you'll see Setup Exchange. You might have to hit Enable. Otherwise, you're going to hit Open, and you'll see it right here, and you can close this out. Instead of trying to like drag this, open it weird, all you got to do, go back to Pits. It's going to be right here with the little wrench here for underneath your tuning setup. If you're only seeing one or two and you're like wondering where all these tunes are, why does he have so many, just click this little drop down here, uncheck this check mark that should be lit up, and then it'll list all the tunes for any track instead of just the track you're on. Next up, we're going to hit drive, and some people when you first join, all your audio is going to be so loud you can't hear anything else besides the game. So what you're going to want to do is open this and go down to audio. I already have mine as a quick thing right here. You can change all your audio levels for your opponents, your master, your engine, etc. Otherwise, you can change where the output's going to. So if you jump into VR and it's acting really wonky, you can change it here. You will have to restart your session, but that's the only way to make it work, unfortunately. But you can change it all here and set the drivers, so that is kind of nice. Alright, we're going to close this. And then you're going to see I have Comfy Maps. Comfy Maps is a great map. That way you can change the sizing, you can change the coloring of everything, add your friends, tons of great features, and especially if a map offers teleports, like some of the like SRP maps will have a teleport function. That way if you crash, you don't have to drive for 4 minutes just to catch back up to your friends. I'll drop the link in the info tab. Next up, we're going to have Car Radar. So you're going to go back to that app shelf. This car radar is pretty nice because it's going to show you where other guys are near you. Obviously, there's nobody near me at this time, but you can change all your settings just by tapping this little guy, and then it'll change like how your distances, your proximity, colors, etc. It's a pretty nice feature. I keep it on that way I know if people are right behind me or how close I am to the guy in front of me. Alright, I just jumped into an online server. Just want to show you guys how this exactly worked. You can click people's names and view them. You can see that their tire types are going to be listed right here and which car they're in. I can show you the car radar. As you can tell, it's going to be popping up right here. This is where you can change, the pictures and colors and whatnot through this little settings guy here. Otherwise, the biggest thing is your chat. See, I mean, people just bash you in the pits constantly. It's always best to have this set up in pits. If I didn't have that, my wheel would be snapping left and right, and I'm only hanging out with my fingertips. That grabs my finger a little bit, might cause some damage. All right, so we have our chat right here. Always keep this open somewhere. It's just gonna be great, especially if you have like admin's trying to tell you something. There's going to be important information, warnings about what you're doing wrong. Some guys don't understand they're going the wrong way on the track, or they shouldn't be ramming people, or everybody's switching tracks. The other thing I recommend changing is sometimes there'll be a leaderboard at the bottom here, and you just don't know how to get rid of this thing. All you're going to do is hit F9 a bunch of times until it says off. Hopefully you found this video helpful. 2 videos, or have any more questions on anything content manager related, just let me know in the comment section below. Thanks.